What do you think of Crawford Canelo? There's a lot of talk about that.
I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you when Crawford and Spence that Crawford would beat the hell out of him, but Canelo is a different proposition.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man.
Warning predictions are still pouring in from all corners of the sport, all warning Crawford of the danger he's walking into against Canelo. The idea of Terence Crawford jumping 3 weight classes to face Canelo Alvarez has become a hot topic. While Crawford is riding high after dismantling Errol Spence Jr. to become the undisputed welterweight champion, the pros believe that the sheer physicality and power of Canelo at super middleweight is a different beast entirely.
Actually see that as a weakness. Seeing how they match up, I think that we just overhyped Crawford, and I think Canelo is going to beat him up.
Why do you think he's overhyped?
The recent win against Spence, but it was mostly because people just hated Spence. It wasn't based on anything that Terence Crawford did.
And I mean, the performance he put on was amazing.
Was it the performance that could possibly lead to him beating somebody like Canelo, who's had multiple great performances, as opposed to 1, maybe 2? To be honest, he might just be a nobody if he loses, just like Errol Spence was. I kind of feel bad for him now that we set it up, but he still can cancel the fight.
Amir Khan, a man with first-hand experience in this realm, has been one of the loudest voices in cautioning Crawford. Khan once attempted a similar leap, moving up to face Canelo after a dominant win over Devin Alexander. It ended brutally, with Canelo knocking him out cold. Khan knows better than most the difference a few weight classes can make. He bluntly put it, "I don't think anyone is beating Canelo. I'm hearing Crawford is moving up to 168 to fight Canelo. I like both guys, and I just think that Crawford should not give that much weight away." Khan's perspective is grounded in painful reality.
There's rumours that Terence Crawford and Canelo.
I don't think that should happen. Look, I like Crawford, and I think Canelo is a beast that way. Honestly, I would advise Crawford not to do that.
Giving up that much weight against a proven power puncher like Canelo is a recipe for disaster. Canelo's shots carry real, bone-crunching power at 168 pounds, something that even the most skilled technicians struggle to absorb. Khan's warning isn't just about size, though. It's about physics, leverage, and the raw force that comes with the extra muscle Canelo brings into the ring. Crawford, for all his brilliance, is not a natural super middleweight. Even if he packs on the pounds, there's a massive difference between functional strength and just hitting a number on the scale.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later.
Promoter Eddie Hearn echoed these concerns, framing the potential clash as a meeting of 2 generational greats, but with a significant physical mismatch. Hearn has watched Crawford's career closely and believes the size gap is too much. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, Hearn said, "It's a fantastic fight. 2 generational greats, 2 pound-for-pound greats, but I do think the weight will be too much for Terence. Even at 154, he is not a big 154. He's definitely not a big 160, and he's definitely not even a small 168. But he has got unbelievable skill, and he's got a huge boxing IQ, but so does Canelo Alvarez. I do give him the edge in that fight."
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Well, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized.
Hearn went further, predicting a stoppage if Canelo can assert himself early. He knows that Canelo, despite being the naturally bigger man, doesn't like to chase fighters. He wants his opponents to stand in front of him, to trade, to feel the weight of his shots. Crawford, known for his slick footwork and sharp counters, won't offer that willingly. But as Hearn pointed out, if Canelo can cut the ring and force exchanges, he'll have a significant advantage.
Versus Terence Crawford fight?
I don't think so. I think that it's much too much weight for Terence. The style was difficult, and people will say it was a poor performance from Terence, but let's just say it was a great performance from Madrimov. I think 168 is much too big for Terence, but like he said, if the money.
Ryan Garcia also weighed in during a recent interview with Ak and Barak, Garcia, who has sparred hundreds of rounds with Canelo, was even more blunt in his assessment. Crawford can't beat Canelo? He didn't look that strong against Madrimov, and Madrimov isn't even a big. The thing with Canelo is that he's mastered his style. He understands what's going on in the ring at all times. I just don't see him beating Canelo. Garcia's point isn't just about size, it's about experience and craft. Canelo, having faced the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Sergey Kovalev, and Caleb Plant, has seen every style imaginable and found a way to win. The Mexican superstar has adapted and thrived at every weight class he's touched, a testament to his ring IQ and durability.
Canelo and Crawford, what do you think?
That's going to be a great fight too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason. Last question, Ali.
Teofimo Lopez has also backed Canelo, predicting a late stoppage for the Mexican. I think Crawford is going to give Canelo a hard time in the beginning, but once Canelo gets a little bit comfortable in that ring, adapting to Crawford's style, we see Canelo finishing him off in the late rounds. Lopez isn't wrong to highlight Canelo's ability to adjust mid-fight. It's one of the reasons he's dominated at the highest level for so long. His ability to read his opponent, to make those subtle in-fight adjustments, is a hallmark of his greatness. But not everyone is ready to count out Crawford.
Before you get out of here. Listen, we can have the skills and everything, but jumping that much like that, jumping like that much, getting hit, I don't think Crawford's ever fought a fighter that's hit him directly, just straight, constantly in the arms. And it's not because they can't, they don't think that way.
Appreciate it, champ.
Gotta clear it out, guys. Remember, this man's been pro since what, 14?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
15. Yeah, 15.
Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas, known for his unfiltered takes, took a contrarian stance on his YouTube channel, pointing out that Canelo's physical advantages might not be as decisive as others believe. Atlas highlighted Canelo's declining foot speed and tendency to struggle against mobile fighters. Can Canelo handle the smaller guy, who's going to be faster, slicker, better defensively? Is the smaller Crawford going to take advantage? Atlas pushed back against the narrative that Canelo's size alone would decide the fight. He sees Crawford's agility and defensive craft as potential game changers. I ain't going against Crawford. I do think he's that special guy. I think Canelo's special too, but Crawford even more so. He hasn't learned how to lose yet. I think he does have those special ingredients that go beyond the physical.
How is Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo?
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's
the weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. He's already moved up 3 weight classes. So now you're talking 6 if you add on 3. Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring that very few people have, and to see things that...
Atlas's confidence in Crawford isn't just wishful thinking. Crawford is one of the most complete fighters of his generation, a master of distance, timing, and angles. He's never tasted defeat, a psychological edge that can't be dismissed. Fighters with a perfect record often carry an unshakable belief in their own invincibility, and Crawford's mindset is built on that unbroken legacy.
Kovalev was older. He does. Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot of power, but all those guys that you named is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to none of those fighters. The skill level is not there.
So how do you see a fight with Canelo going?
It's a tough fight. Canelo is a great fighter. Like, I always had respect for Canelo, but I just believe in my skills. The fact that people doubt me, it just fueled me even more. Try to get.
Frank Warren, a veteran promoter with decades in the game, also weighed in, noting that Canelo has shown signs of vulnerability in recent outings. You know, Skull was catching Canelo. It makes Crawford fight more of an intriguing fight. I always say a good big 'un will beat a good little 'un, but he could give Canelo a real problem now. Warren's view hints at the possibility that Canelo's aura of invincibility might be fading, that perhaps the grind of moving up and down in weight over the years has taken a toll. Still, the majority of insiders seem to favor Canelo, largely because of the physical realities at play. Moving up from welterweight to super middleweight isn't just a matter of adding muscle. It's about adjusting to the pace, power, and physicality of bigger men.
and he's got to give a lot of weight away, Crawford, but he could give Canelo a real problem now because Canelo was getting caught.
Watching that, do you think Crawford might be, perhaps licking his lips isn't the right word?
Well, I'm sure he was. He was sitting ringside. He was sitting a couple of seats away from me ringside. You could see he liked it. No schmuck. He knows his boxing. And the other thing is, you've got to look at, was it Madrimov, who he fought, also gave him a tough fight for a guy who'd only had 12 fights. So it's going to be a very, very interesting fight between the two of them.
It's about surviving the trenches with someone who hits significantly harder and can absorb more punishment. For Crawford, the challenge isn't just about skills. It's about testing his limits in a way he's never had to before. He's dominated everyone in front of him, but he's never faced a freight train like Canelo. That in itself is a warning too loud to ignore. And that's what Oscar De La Hoya can only see. The size difference has been a recurring theme in every analysis, with De La Hoya among those convinced that Crawford is biting off more than he can chew.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game, unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao beat me, but I was a dead man walking anyway. But a good little man never beats a good big man, so it's a tough test for Crawford, but I'm not counting him out. The bottom line, and this is the truth again, it's a money grab. That's it.
Despite Crawford's status as an undisputed champion at 140 and 147 pounds, the jump to 168 is a leap into a world where raw power and size can overwhelm even the most skilled technicians. Canelo, a four-weight world champion who has fought as high as 175 pounds and captured a WBO belt by stopping Sergey Kovalev, presents a completely different type of challenge. Crawford's career at 147 pounds has been marked by dominance, with a string of knockouts and a flawless record, but the physical reality of fighting someone like Canelo is daunting.
There's no Triple G on Bud's resume. There's no Trout on Bud's resume. There's no Daniel Jacobs on Bud's resume. Canelo is the one that's fought the elite level opposition. It's Canelo that fought Laura. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ.
Yeah, but Bud is an elite boxer.
So you're an elite boxer, but you haven't fought elite.
Alvarez has not only held titles across 4 weight divisions, but has also faced the kind of power punchers and elite boxers that test a fighter's resolve in ways few can imagine. His only 2 losses came against Floyd Mayweather, a master technician, and Dmitry Bivol, a natural light heavyweight. Even then, Alvarez went the distance in both fights, proving his durability and resilience against significantly larger men. To many, this fight can already be predicted by looking at what happened to Charlo.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show.
Jermell Charlo's recent attempt to conquer Canelo at 168 pounds serves as a stark warning for Crawford. Charlo, a former undisputed champion at 154 pounds, tried to bridge the weight gap but found himself on the receiving end of a one-sided beating. The difference in strength, size, and power was evident from the opening bell, with Canelo controlling the pace and pushing Charlo back at will.
And the biggest question to me, how will the 12-pound difference be for Terence Crawford? It's going to be his first fight at 168. For Canelo, this is the weight class that he always fights at, no problem. But I'm really curious on how Terence Crawford is going to be able to adjust to this, and if it's going to be advantage or a disadvantage for Terence.
Charlo's sharpness and pedigree counted for little as Canelo's power and physicality imposed themselves over 12 rounds. De La Hoya, despite his strained relationship with Alvarez, saw this as proof that weight classes exist for a reason. He described the potential Crawford-Canelo matchup as a one-sided affair, where the size and power of the Mexican superstar would eventually become too much, likely around the 7th round, as Canelo starts to walk his man down and unleash the kind of relentless pressure that has broken so many before him.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
Roy Jones Jr., another legend with a keen sense of boxing dynamics, also weighed in. He advised Canelo to lean into his physical advantages, pressuring Crawford early to make him feel the weight difference. Jones knows firsthand the dangers of moving up in weight, having campaigned successfully as a light heavyweight and even capturing a heavyweight title. He understands the mental and physical challenges Crawford will face against a naturally larger, stronger man. Jones warned that while Crawford's speed and skill might trouble Canelo in the early rounds, those advantages would fade quickly if Canelo makes it a physical battle, leaning on him, cutting off the ring, and forcing him into exchanges where his power can shine.
Fight, man. Man, it's a great fight for boxing. I know people don't agree with it, but if Canelo fights one inkling of the wrong fight, he's gonna lose. If he comes out and fights the right fight, it's gonna be a tough one. So right now, I think it's gonna be either way, but it depends on what type of fight Canelo fights.
You've been a guy that moves in weight class. How do you think Terence Crawford should handle the weight? Should he come in lighter? Should he come right around the weight limit?
Come in as big as he can get. If you get to the weight limit, because there is a weight limit, get to.
Abel Sanchez, a veteran trainer known for his work with Gennady Golovkin, echoed these sentiments, bluntly dismissing the fight as a mismatch. Sanchez likened it to Golovkin's fight with Kell Brook, where Brook's hand speed and technical ability gave him some early success before the sheer power and size of Golovkin overwhelmed him. Sanchez believes the same fate awaits Crawford, predicting that the American might shine for a few rounds before the relentless physicality of Canelo starts to break him down, likely leading to a stoppage between the 9th and 12th rounds. For Sanchez, the difference in natural size is simply too great, regardless of how much weight Crawford gains. The punches Canelo lands will hurt, and as the rounds progress, the physical toll will mount.
I think it's a ridiculous fight myself. I think that Crawford is too small. Canelo is, in my opinion, the face of boxing right now. I think that look at his resume. I think it's a good fight for a little while. Crawford's hand speed will, just like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, the hand speed was evident at the beginning of the fight. But as the fight goes on, Canelo's going to start pounding on him, and I think that the fight ends somewhere between the 9th and...
Robert Garcia, another experienced trainer, took a more cautious approach, noting that Crawford's recent performance against Madrimov raised some red flags. Garcia felt that Crawford might have been looking past his opponent, possibly distracted by the looming prospect of a mega fight with Canelo. For Garcia, this lack of focus, combined with the size disadvantage, makes the fight a hard sell for fans. He argued that if Crawford had delivered a more dominant performance, the excitement for the fight might have been greater, but as things stand, the perception is that Canelo is simply too big, too powerful, and too seasoned to be seriously challenged by a welterweight moving up 3 divisions.
I see Canelo winning, and I'm not, you know, I don't know Canelo very well. I'll say hi to him if I see him. He'll say hi to me too, but we're not friends. You know, I could probably say I spent more time with Crawford, so I would love to see Crawford pull it off. I would be more happy to see Crawford win, you know, because I know him better. I know him.
Despite the chorus of warnings, Crawford himself remains confident. In a recent interview with The Ring, he expressed a belief that Canelo has been holding back in his recent fights, perhaps not showing his full potential. Crawford suggested that Canelo might not have gone all out against fighters like Munguia or Berlanga, saving his best for a more meaningful clash. This confidence is typical of Crawford, a fighter who has made a career out of defying expectations and proving doubters wrong. Crawford also touched on his own mindset heading into a clash with Canelo, emphasizing that he isn't solely focused on a knockout.
Start hitting me like, oh, man, maybe he's on to something. You know, then I started sizing him up, and I'm like, all right, well, Canelo 5'7", you know, my arm's longer.
Yeah.
He's strong, I'm strong.
Right.
You know, it'd be, to me, skill for skill.
Right.
You know, because Canelo not the biggest 168 fighter. So, I just started.
While acknowledging that Canelo has a proven chin and has never been stopped, Crawford believes his sharper, faster shots could hurt the Mexican superstar if he can land cleanly. He downplayed the idea that Canelo is invincible, pointing out that every fighter can be hurt if hit with the right shot at the right moment. For Crawford, the goal is to fight his fight, to outbox and outmaneuver his larger opponent, rather than seeking a knockout that might never come. Crawford's confidence, though admirable, faces the harsh reality of physics and history. No fighter has ever made such a dramatic leap in weight to challenge an active pound-for-pound great without paying a steep price.
I don't gotta stop him. I just gotta beat him. I'm not going in there looking to knock Canelo out. Could it happen? Yes, absolutely. You know, when I look at Canelo, he's a smaller, bigger guy moving up in divisions. You know, being that these big guys is slower, so they might catch him with something, but he might see it at the last moment. You know, they might catch him with a heart.
Shakur Stevenson, the WBC lightweight champion and a close friend of Terence Crawford, has been vocal about his confidence in Crawford's ability to defeat Canelo. Stevenson has maintained this stance since as early as 2021. Long before Canelo suffered his first recent loss to Dmitry Bivol, he believes Crawford's power is often underestimated, pointing out that Crawford has hurt heavyweight sparring partners in training, a testament to his strength despite competing in lower weight classes. Stevenson has also emphasized Crawford's superior boxing skills and footwork, predicting that these attributes will allow him to outmaneuver and outclass Canelo over the course of the fight.
Honestly, I think Bud could beat Canelo.
Would you like to see that fight?
Would I like to see it? Yeah, I would like to see it. Just because I know, I don't think that, like I said, I've been saying this, I don't think size win fights. I think skills do. So, I don't know who else probably will listen to me, but I think, Bud, stylistically, now I think, being a southpaw with good movement and sharp boxing.
Stevenson also argues that Crawford's southpaw stance will present a significant challenge for Canelo, who has historically struggled against left-handed fighters. Confident in his friend's chances, Stevenson has even gone as far as saying that Crawford will destroy Canelo, reflecting his unwavering belief in Crawford's capabilities as a fighter. On the other hand, Dmitry Bivol, who famously handed Canelo Alvarez a significant defeat in 2022, offers a more measured and cautious assessment. Bivol acknowledges that Crawford is a highly skilled and dangerous opponent, but he also highlights the challenges associated with moving up in weight to face a physically stronger fighter like Canelo. Bivol has emphasized the importance of Crawford properly acclimating to the 168-pound division, warning that the increased power and physicality at this weight class can be overwhelming. But how do you see it going? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.